Hey guys, welcome to Amy's Autopsy Report. My name's Amy. This video is going to be a tag video. Recently, I found a YouTube channel called Drumdums, and the guy whose channel it is, his name is Lee. He also runs a Facebook horror group called Killer Flicks. This is going to be the Killer Flicks tag video. It consists of 14 questions. All made up by the members of the Facebook group Killer Flicks. So let's get started with the tag. I will link everything in the description box below. The tag questions, the Facebook group Killer Flicks, and Lee's channel, which is called Drumdums. Hopefully I've got that right, because I keep saying it backwards. Okay, so first question. Who is your favorite vampire character, performance, etc. in a Killer Flick? This question was written by Matt Festle. I'm going to say it was the vampire from Stephen King's The Night Flyer. I feel like that is a really underrated vampire movie. It's excellent, and I can't remember the character's name offhand, but it is a good vampire flick. It has a very different feel than most other vampire flicks, and I would highly recommend checking that one out. Stephen King's The Night Flyer. Number 2, what was the very first killer flick that opened your eyes to the world of horror? This one was from Mason Lake. I would say Jaws. I saw Jaws at a very early age, and I remember being fascinated by the fact that the shark was not real, but looked real, at least to me when I was 6. Jaws, definitely. Number 3 is, what's a really standout geographical setting for a killer flick? I.e., The Thing is set in Antarctica. Any you really remember and love for being so original? This one is from Jake Kulkowski. I would say I like movies that take place in movie theaters. So that automatically makes me think of 2 movies right off the bat. Number 1 being Demons, and the other one being kind of a little known slasher called Midnight Movie. And both of those are pretty decent. Demons is an excellent movie. Midnight Movie is also a fun movie, and they both take place in the movie theater. I don't know why, but I like that, and it's not done very often, at least that I know of anyway. Number 4. What killer flick are you embarrassed to say you love? This one's by Clancy. You know what? I'm not embarrassed to say I love any movie, but I do get a lot of crap for saying that I love the House of Wax remake with Paris Hilton. It's not a good movie, guys. It's not. But I have fun with it, and that's just it. Another one I get a lot of crap for is Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows, and also Jason Takes Manhattan. Number 5. There are a lot of killer flicks based on true stories. Do you have a favorite? And how accurate do you think the story is? My gosh, there are tons of based on a true story movies. One, I recently just got the tape, and I had kind of forgotten about this story, but it was the Mothman prophecies, and I like that movie. I'm kind of big into the cryptids like Bigfoot and Chupacabra and the Jersey Devil and all that stuff. The Mothman prophecies is based on a true story. About 9 times out of 10, they just kind of take ideas from the original story. They're never like true to life. They generally have to Hollywood it up quite a bit. So I'm going to go with that one, Mothman Prophecies. Another one is the Conjuring movies are based on true stories and or true events or whatever. And a lot of the things that happened in The Conjuring were definitely kind of Hollywooded up. And also, too, the time span which those things supposedly happened was shortened. Not everything in The Conjuring happened in 2 hours or like a few days or a month even. It was supposedly spanned over years of time. So typically they aren't really ever true. Let's see. Number 6. What director would you like to see crossover franchises? The example given was Rob Zombie doing a Friday the 13th movie. This one is by Cody Archer. I think it would be cool if Robert Rodriguez, who did The Faculty and From Dusk Till Dawn and Desperado, El Mariachi, those movies, I think it would be cool if he did a version of The Evil Dead. I feel like he has a lot of that same style from the first Evil Dead in his shooting style and editing style and the gore and all that. I think that he would do a really interesting version of The Evil Dead. So I'm going to go with Robert Rodriguez on that one. Number 7. What killer flick was the toughest watch? And this one's from Jason Miller. I am not really into the extreme horror kind of stuff like a Serbian film and Salo and some of that stuff. But here is a movie that I thought I was going to throw up while I was watching. And it's called Bone Sickness. It's a good movie. I really like this movie. But at the very beginning, this guy is throwing up real worms. And it was so disgusting that I was actually gagging while I was watching it, and I thought I was gonna vomit. So I'm gonna say Bone Sickness. If you haven't watched that one, I say give it a watch. It's an indie horror film. It's very heavily gore based, but it's fun. It's a fun watch. Come here, Rocco. Sorry, my dog. Number 8. Who's your favorite killer flick final girl other than Jamie Lee Curtis? One of my favorite final girls is Danielle Harris. She was a favorite in the Halloween movies. She was also a favorite in the Hatchet movie. She was in Hatchet 2, and I loved that. So I'm going to go with Danielle Harris. Number 9. That question was by Esther Meeks. Number 9. Which killer flick has scarred you for life? Gabriella Caper and Lamont Smith asked that question. Well, as a kid, the movies that scarred me for life were the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Phantasm. I would say, yeah, those movies definitely scarred me for life. I had nightmares a lot about Phantasm. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just brutal and excellently done. So well done that it still really freaks me out today. Another one that's tough for me is Last House on the Left. That's a tough one for me, too. Number 10. What killer flick has the most killer soundtrack? This one's from Erica Kirchenbauer. And I apologize if I'm butchering anyone's name here. Well, there's so many soundtracks that are great, but one that really stood out to me was a movie I watched recently for the second time called Dead Hooker in a Trunk by the Soska sisters. That had an excellent soundtrack. I'm going to go with that one. Number 11, what is the single greatest kill in a killer flick? This one's by Jason Smith. I don't know if it's the greatest kill ever, but 2 of my favorite kills are, the first one being from Hatchet, where the lady gets, like, split down the middle. Or no, not split down the middle, but when he opens her mouth and, like, rips her whole head in half. That one. And also in Jason Takes Manhattan, where Jason is boxing with the guy on the roof and literally decapitates his head, and it falls down and rolls off the dumpster and onto the street. Number 12. What do you think the best performance in a killer flick is? This is Jason Smith. Some of the best performances I've ever seen in a horror movie in general are from Rosemary's Baby and also The Witch. The acting in both of those films is phenomenal, and they really make you feel for the characters involved in the stories. Number 13, what killer flick horror location would you like to visit? I'd like to visit the swamps in Hatchet. I just think it'd be fun. That or the original cabin of the Evil Dead, which I think has been torn down now, but those are the ones I'd like to see most. And number 14, and this one this question was brought up by a celebrity, Deborah Voorhees, from Friday the 13th Part 5, and her question is, are there any killers you have that you sympathize with? And as odd as it may sound, I always felt really bad for Victor Crowley because he was picked on and he was bullied, and then his dad tries to save him and he ends up accidentally killing him, and it's just like this terrible story. And I always felt bad for Victor Crowley in Hatchet. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I'm going to tag 3 people. I'm going to tag Horror Junkies 509. I'm going to tag Todd All Things Horror, and I'm going to tag Evil Stevel. So if y'all are watching and you feel like doing the tag, go ahead and do it. Anybody can do this. That's going to do it for this video, guys. All of Lee's information and Killer Flicks information will be in the description box below. If you like these videos, give me a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram at Amy's Autopsy Report, and I will catch you guys in the next one.